Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining me again, Debbie. My name's Stuart. I'm from Thirlmere Deacon in Mayfair. We are working on a new launch of ours called Citygate in York, which you guys have a bit of an affiliation with. Please introduce yourselves if you don't mind.
Okay, so hello there, I'm Debbie and I run Welcome Lets, which is part of Churchill's subsidiary company, which we do holiday lets, short-term rentals and predominantly a lot of corporate lets within the York and Yorkshire region of this area. So hello.
Fantastic. Hello.
Hi there, I'm Ash. I am the head of residential lettings at Churchill's Estate Agents. We manage a vast number of properties in the Greater York area and are looking to expand our operation. We also deal with other avenues, specifically block management, but the reason for this purpose of my visit being here is for the purpose of lettings and management.
Superb. So between the two of you, you sort of cover absolutely all areas of the letting management for, you know, you got a good handle on the York and Yorkshire market. So you guys are definitely the authority in the area. So thanks a lot for the introduction. A little bit about Welcome Lets and a little bit about Churchill's, if you don't mind.
So Welcome Let's started 4 years ago, and Kevin, who is the MD of Churchill's, started obviously sales background within Churchill's Estate Agents, predominantly an independent company, and has maintained to be an independent within York. He then started lettings and then had the vision to start holiday lets within York, hence why Welcome Let's obviously started. The business grew from 5 properties to 18 to quickly now 88, going on to 92 by the end of this year. And we cover not just like saying York city centre, we cover Yorkshire coastal and the nice little market towns of North Yorkshire, South Yorkshire. So we're dotted throughout, but yeah, and we deal from everything from the management side of running the holiday let to the guests, to the cleans, to the maintenance, to reviews, to getting more business, to helping investors create the dream of the holiday let, and the list goes kind of on and on and on from there, really.
Fantastic. So it's not only the letting side of things, you actually work with investors to help them, you know, maximize the letting.
Exactly. Yeah, we do. And where an investor has got a property with us, so I predominantly try and speak to all my owners at least once or twice a month. It doesn't always happen to that timescale, but I try to. Where we may be dipping slightly with occupancy, we kind of flip it onto what we kind of corporate let, so we get like a 4-week booking in there. Yeah. If the property needs doing up or refurnishing, rephotographs, etc., we organise all of that within their budgets.
Fantastic. Okay, so really is a sort of one-stop shop and fully comprehensive service.
It is, yeah, it is, and that's the beauty as well. But also, more importantly, it's for the guests, because without the guests, you haven't got the business. Yeah. The guests also like us because, again, if they want to know a restaurant, we tell them where to go. We tell them about tours to go on, etc.
Yeah, you're local, yeah.
Yeah. If their hairdryer's broken down and they're off to the races or a night out, we go and deliver a hairdryer, etc. You know, so we never leave that guest stranded. And that's the important thing that I've learned over the years in holiday lets. If a guest isn't happy, the guest isn't coming back.
That's it.
And yeah, so it goes on. So we've kind of developed a lot more to it than what it started with, and the list goes on, and we want to develop it even further.
Superb. So I mean, the business itself is obviously evolved, but it sounds like it's evolved for the users. So it's evolved, you know, along with the experience that you've taken in. That's excellent. And this isn't the first time you've mentioned hair dryers to me, Debbie. So it seems like that is quite a prolific problem.
Us who have got hair need a hair dryer.
You know, I've got that problem. I'm all right.
I used to have a little bit more than this, so
it's beautiful.
And thank you. And Churchill's then, Ash?
Yeah, so well, similar to, I mean, following on what Deb was saying, I mean, the business was set up back in, gosh, I want to say 1989, and like saying, like Deb was saying, it's kind of the lettings has kind of grown exponentially. We're currently sitting around about 290 managed units, and we're sort of seeing more and more landlords, more investors coming into the York rental market. I think given it's been a very challenging market for investors over the last couple of years with property prices across the UK being inflated, but as you know, there's opportunities now which are coming more and more into the market, and you know, the rental market itself over the last year, specifically in New York, has been absolutely bonkers. Properties, I mean, we've had properties renting for 10-15% higher than what they would normally do in any normal market. So it's absolutely, I mean, again, just simply demand and supply economics. There's a shortage of rental stock on the market at the moment, which is what's driving up rents. So it's definitely a good time to be a landlord. Fantastic. In the York area.
I mean, it really, what you're saying speaks volumes to our investors, because, you know, many of our investors are buying, you know, not just in our York project, but many of our investors are literally buying to take full advantage of the rental market. And, you know, we understand that the short-term let market is strong in some major cities, but we also understand that the average age of the first-time buyer is getting higher, so not many people are buying anymore. The younger generations are renting, so you know, there's a big sort of demand for rental property, quality rental property.
Absolutely.
So we've collated, if you don't mind, we've collated a few questions from some of our buyers, from some of the team here. Team, say hello.
Hello.
Some of the guys. We've collated a few questions that we get regularly from investors, and I thought I'd put them to you, literally, you know, horse's mouth, for want of a better phrase, and see how you guys fare with it. I mean, first things first. I mean, you're based in a location that we're actually working in now at the moment. So what's the biggest what are the biggest draws for York, if you don't mind me saying? So from a visitor's point of view, from a renter's point of view, what are the biggest draws to the city?
So from the biggest draws to the city from a guest point of view is the Minster, which is a beautiful cathedral that the history is steeped in history way back to the Vikings time, etc. The Shambles, and again, that goes back way through to kind of like, you know, pre ages ago, from the Vikings coming over and settling, and the Romans, etc. But it's retained its old cobbled streets, it's retained its old shops. And it's known throughout, obviously, England and the world, really, as being such a prestigious street, etc. But it's our universities that predominantly bring a lot of graduates who will then stay in York. Their parents come and visit York. They then fall in love with York, and the aunties, uncles, sisters, cousins, blah, 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 come and visit. But also within Yorkshire, there's a lot of Geordies come, Scousers come, etc., because York is just an hour on the train. And they come for the days, the weekends, etc. They can have a nice cheeky weekend away without the kids in a nice, peaceful, busy, vibrant city. And that's what York offers. And York will never lose that. And that's why predominantly a lot of infrastructure now comes into York. We've got the biggest railway museum, etc., going, that again has got, you know, everything there that obviously is the history of it, but we just don't lose that factor, and that's what guests love about York, and we will never lose that. No matter what happens with inflation, there is too much money already invested in York from the universities that will not allow that kind of structure to obviously demise, in a sense. York Races has been around since you and I were ever even thought of. It's been in York. The Knavesmire is local land that belongs to the residents, etc. But York Races hosts fantastic amount of money that race owners love to do. We get the Dubai race meetings, we get them over from obviously that connection, but more importantly, it's talked about on the TV. So York is a very prestigious racecourse. We've gone from 15 race meetings now to 18 a year, etc. And on a normal race meeting, that brings 30,000 people alone just on a race meeting.
Yeah.
And that's just not one day, that's 2 days, that's 3 days. So that's 30,000 times 3 times 4, etc. You come and sit in York train station on a race meeting, it's like being in Harrods. It's just, the volume is so excessive and it's bonkers, and they spend the money, but they come back. And that's the beauty. So once you've captured them and people walk into York, I moved here 7 years ago. Right. I got out of my car one day and was just like, wow, 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 look at this. And I've stayed. And you do.
This what a wonderful rundown of the city and its draws as a sort of tourism hub. Really appreciate that. I mean, some of those points that, you know, I didn't know about, you know, the railway museum and stuff like that. The Shambles, I understand, is the oldest shopping street in Europe.
It is.
As well.
It is. Yeah.
It's brand new information. Now, some of those factors probably play into Ash's hands as well. And what you just said there about you got out yourself, out of your car and stayed. Ash, I would imagine some of those factors that make it such an appealing place to visit also make it quite a nice place to live.
I couldn't agree more. So we, I mean, I'll get. The fact of the matter is it's very it's the train station alone is the transport links are fantastic. So you can get to London in 2 hours fairly easily. When we had, I mean, you can also get to sort of Leeds, Manchester. There are sort of direct trail links. So there's huge amounts of fundamentals. There's there's investment going into York as well as we speak. So I know when we came out of the pandemic, actually when we first came out of lockdown, we had a lot more people because of this new way of working. People were relocating from London up to here, knowing that they'd only have to be, say, spending a day in the office, for instance, because going in Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, as it were, and being in the office 1 day a week, they could basically branch out a little bit, save a little bit on perhaps on rent than they would normally be paying in the city in London City. So I think that kind of led to, kind of contributed to, in part, to why rents started to sort of see an uplift. But yeah, people come and move out, and they realise actually how beautiful the city York is, and then they stay.
Hooked. So really, it wins in both accounts. So you're really looking at short-term lets as a fantastic income generator. We all know what a great income generator that is for investors, but it's not just based on that. It's not just propped up by that. It's also you've got the quite attractive long-term AST opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that sounds right. That sounds great. I mean, I was going to go into a question about occupancy rates, but it almost seems that arbitrary. People will ask us, are you able to fill the apartments in this particular development to the 65-75% occupancy rates that you suggest? And hearing it from you guys that just the race meetings alone would be able to do that. We've only got 62 apartments in this luxury building, but tell us a little bit about the sort of occupancy rates Welcome Lets are getting at the moment.
So at the moment now, obviously, so where Citygate apartment is being developed, etc. Behind that, I've got apartments. On the side of it, I've got apartments. Around the corner, I've got apartments. So I've got kind of like obviously locations dotted all around what is the new Citygate, etc. Your occupancies that we're getting currently in Icona. So that is your basic one to honestly, compare to.
Yeah.
Now, in there, we've got 2 beds and we've got 1 small 1 bed. Now, on the small 1 bed, you are honestly looking at the moment this year currently, and what's trading currently at the moment, in the 8 to 9 months it's been trading, we're achieving 61%.
Okay, yeah.
Now, in the 2 beds, it's slightly higher and it's gone to 67%.
Brilliant, okay.
The pre-bookings that are now till Christmas in those properties, apart from the 1 bed, are going to take it to around about the 76, 77. And that's just with what's already pre-booked. And there's still vacancies throughout the 3 next months that we've got until Christmas.
Okay.
In COVID,
go on.
And coming out of COVID last year, and we only actually had 7 months of actually trading opening that we had, but we exceeded 87%. Now, that was excessive because people still wasn't actually going abroad last year. But because now obviously the international students are coming back in, and because they're allowed to come back in, etc., that's also what's obviously keeping the occupancy rates up higher. But also there's a lot more in York. When a property sells, the person can't find the next property for ages, and they have an in-between stage. There is lots and lots every time of obviously 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to then I need it for a month, I need to go out for a month, and that kind of thing, which obviously happens, etc. And that is so key to obviously the business that they need, which obviously stacks up the occupancy. But yes, the Iconas are achieving those at the moment.
Fantastic. So you are expecting, close to sort of 80-85%.
Yeah. Now I've got another couple of apartments that are on what we call our lovely Cocoa Suites area, which is an old like chocolate work factory that's been maintained with obviously its history, etc. Now that one is exceeding slightly higher because it's a little bit more luxurious. Now I've got another one that overlooks Clifford's Tower, and just because of the balcony alone, obviously that's exceeding slightly higher.
Right. So the quirkiness or the amenities within the unit, within the building, that definitely has a direct correlation on the occupancy.
That's right. What Citygate will offer is the fact that people can get to it very quickly from 5 different directions from that train station.
Yeah.
They can get lost in one of the lovely snickerways, loads of the nice pubs, loads of the nice shops and delis, etc., and have a whale of a time before they find the apartment, so to speak. But it's so centrally located that then people will like it because they can very quickly get out again onto the motorway.
Fantastic.
And they're not congested within the city centre traffic.
So our project there is just to for the viewers' purposes. Our project here is Citygate in York, and we've got 62 1- and 2-bedroom apartments.
That's right.
Apartment. Lots of balconies and Juliet balconies. Amenities. You've got a gym. You've got a concierge. You've got a lounge. So that sets it apart from what I understand. You can if I'm wrong, from other things that are available in the city.
It does. Yeah, there isn't any other apartment block that offers those 2 facilities.
Fantastic. Okay.
So and that really is a key area. But you see, the beauty also about Citygate is that even if you bring your car and you can't get parked at Citygate, you've got no end of long stays that are literally 2 minutes walk away. So it's not a problematic area to get to for a quick stay.
This is great. I mean, this means that people can pop over from Leeds, can pop over from Manchester for a few nights and access it really quickly. So
that's what they do. There's also
go on, sorry.
So in York as well, within the hospitality market and guest coming market, there's a lot of maturer people that come on a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night and stay because the kids are not around, so to speak. So, on a Monday night,
probably fit into that category.
Exactly. So on a Monday night, you can go down our beautiful shambles, you can go down our beautiful Stonegate yards, etc. areas, and you'll have a different vibrancy to what it will be on a weekend, obviously. Sure. But you've always got a match for what people are looking for, and that's the nice thing about York as well. So it appeals to the older people as much as what it does to the kids.
Last time we spoke, you talked about the diversity of the traffic that comes in, and that's key. It's not just the sort of crowd looking to seek the history of the city. It's also the younger generation on nights out or weekends.
Exactly, and the thing is, and honestly, it's a safe night out in York. Kids, no matter what age they are, if they want to be silly in York, they can be silly, and there's not a lot happens badly to them, put it that way.
Okay.
There's a lot of stags and hens come to York because they can party nicely.
Let their hair.
And that is a great thing. Whilst we don't always like that, it brings a lot. And it does.
What does this mean for sort of occupancy time frames throughout the year? Is it seasonal or is it throughout the year? What's the times?
And I'd love you to come to York to kind of see the vision, really, because then you get it. In January time, you get older people and you get kind of like youngsters who are looking to come to university to York with their parents. In February time, you get the mass people that follow Vikings because there's a massive Viking festival in York. Then you get like half term, so you get everybody from kids to youngsters, etc. But then you get your food festival. So then you get your next culture of obviously people. Then you have the beer festival. And then we follow March. And then we go into April, and then we start the race goers come in. Yeah. So honestly, it really is just you can't ever put York on a graph and kind of say this is what it definitely is. You just can't do that. I go to several restaurants in York different times of the year, and it's a different crowd every time.
Well, that's it's so encouraging from an occupancy point of view, especially with the quality of the development that Citygate is. I think it's going to appeal to quite an interesting crowd throughout the year. Going over to yourself, Ash, with regards to the rental, if you read the likes of Savills, JLL, all these market commentaries, they're suggesting York and the Humber rents are increasing quite a lot. What have you seen to sort of demonstrate that over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so big thing for me is, well, from what I've seen is, I think I mentioned earlier, like rents have kind of in York have kind of increased by in the region about sort of 15%. I mean, give or take. Before the market went absolutely crazy, we had I remember specifically having a 2-bedroom terraced house which needed, I mean, it was okay, it was needed some work doing on it, and in that kind of market it would have been renting for around 750 per calendar month. Now, since the market went absolutely insane, I mean, we had tenants offering up to like £900 per calendar month for it, so showing a bit of a sort of 20% uplift. Properties now, which have normally rented for about sort of 900 to £1,000, are going up to sort of 1,200, 1,300. So it's for me, it's just further cementing the fact that there's why York is such a sought after location to live and work in, and it just seems to be no signs of slowing down, dare I say.
Fantastic. Well, this is, I think voted, Sunday Times voted best place to live in 2018.
3 times.
3 times?
3 times.
Right, okay, so from the horse's mouth. That's great. I mean, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? When you're getting, all those sort of short-term lets, but you're also getting the accolades of being the nicest place to live in the country is massive. Right, a little bit into the technical sort of running of the, management. So and investors are buying properties through us at this site. Once it completes, which I understand is going to be, late February, they're working towards at the moment. I want to ask you guys a little bit on the latest state of the site as well. In a minute, we'll get to that. But a little bit about the technicalities. Say an investor buys, they want to then use Welcome Lets as their management company. What's the procedure? Do they then, sign a long-term contract with you?
Yeah, so they can either come and meet me, or we can Zoom and get volume, obviously, but no, we can kind of obviously talk, or we can do email, etc. So my other owners, for argument's sake, they'll come and meet me. We'll go through the property and we'll design a design for obviously kitting it out, etc., to obviously be able to run as a holiday let. We'll agree the budget, off they go into the sunset, so to speak. They sign our contract. Our contract is 12 months. We charge a £200 setup fee.
Yeah.
And that's plus VAT, but that's it. And we don't have any other hidden fees. We then have the service fees, which is the 15% plus VAT, but we don't charge for anything else. I don't charge for decorating that property. I don't charge for, obviously, if I've had to go out because somebody's got stuck or missed their keys or something like that, because I have that property. But that's it simply. So the 12-month contract enables us to obviously show the property in its true glory, keep it on all the platforms, etc., maintain the pricing, look at altering the prices if we need to, etc. But if then that person wanted to give notice, it's a 3-month obviously notice period.
Okay, and they can run that with you for as long as they want to, really. For
as long as they want.
Renew.
We don't renew it year on year. We just keep that contract going. We don't charge a setup fee every year. It is that one-off fee, etc. We're very happy with what we earn off the property, so to speak, and that's how we keep it. Hey,
listen, I mean, this is a conversation that comes up quite a lot. If your management company is making a profit, that's what you want. You want your management company to be doing well. They're going to benefit from it as well as you.
Of course we are, and that's right, and that's the beauty. I don't have to charge my investors every time there's been a call out, because there is a lot of call outs, because guests are stupid at times. They are. It happens. Guests also have accidents. It happens. I don't need to charge that kind of level of call outs to make the money. I don't, and I won't do that. It's against my policy as well, my beliefs. but also the very fact is that once that property is up and trading, that investor will then probably buy another property.
Yeah. Well, this is it. It's about showing people the returns, isn't it? Show them physically.
Yeah.
Show them. Here you go. Have one. It runs, and then that
Exactly
turns into quite a
yeah. And also the beauty about my company that I'm very proud to work for is the fact that if that investor wanted to sell, we can sell it. If that investor wanted to turn it on to the rental long term, we flip it straight away. There is no time waiting with us, so that investor really isn't ever going to lose a lot of money, because we can change to what we need to change to very quickly.
That's an incredibly insightful point. If somebody wanted to sell, you guys have got the avenue for it. I mean, we'd also be able to help. You guys have got the avenue for it. If somebody wanted to actually say, look, I'll take it off the short lets and I'll put it on a long let, Ash steps in and his team step in. That's
exactly
superb. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the beauty is we work in the same office as well, so we talk regularly. I have a meeting with my team once a week, but we communicate regularly with the Holiday Lets team anyway to see what's coming on and how we can best support each other and our investors.
So that really should give investors a lot of confidence that you've got their best interests at heart about making them maximizing the return for this particular property. If you feel that it's going to do better going this way, then you guys are sort of consultative like that. I like that a lot. I think that's going to transfer quite well to investors as well.
If I could just interject one thing as well, sorry, I don't know if we mentioned, but we also benefit from having an in-house maintenance contractor called Rick. He's our handyman, and it's basically, we find it's the best way of us turning maintenance around quickly, whether it be for holiday lets or for long-term rentals, and thereby protecting our clients' investments as well.
So keeping Rick very, very busy, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Keep him in the job. I mean, that's one of my questions about repairs. What happens with repairs, furniture, accessories, whatever it is, you guys are on hand all the time. Yeah,
that's right. And whilst I don't have a great office that I can store beds, obviously I have a great contact that I can get beds from very quickly. I go on about hair dryers till my dying days, but it's glasses, it's crockery, it's hangers.
Yeah,
they're always readily. So if a guest does ring us, but more importantly, if our housekeepers rung us up and said, like, somebody's pinched the hangers or there's some broken, they're just changed straight away. Our inspection guy, Chris, that goes around as well, that if he picks up the fact that the heating's broken or not working, we get that then reported straight away. So we're never really on a back foot with a guest. And that's the difference.
Good stuff. So then that all comes under the sort of 15% plus VAT.
Yeah, there's no charge for that. There is no charge. The only charge would be that if we went into that property and the oven broke because it broke, not because the guest had done it, then yes, the owner's going to have to buy a new oven. If the heating's broken and it's out of warranty, then the owner's going to have to, cover that cost of that one. If a chair leg has come off the chair and we can fix it, we fix it with no charge.
Yeah.
If a guest has broken that chair, that guest pays for it.
Well, yeah, so you take a security deposit from guests as well. Okay. I mean, you've covered a lot of my questions here. You've actually, things like, what do you guys do to ensure the occupancy rates? You talked about being open and being available to lots of different demographics of people, but do you advertise locally, or are you on many platforms?
Yeah, so we're on two major platforms, which is Airbnb, who are not my favorite, but they are one of the leaders out there, unfortunately. And obviously 50% of the bookings do come from Airbnb. Booking.com is probably about 22% of the bookings. And then the rest of the bookings come direct from our website, which is increasing more. But also we heavily Facebook and Instagram as well.
Right. Okay. So you're quite
and that does work. But because my team as well, if I met them now, you'd kind of hear them on the phone to guests and they're trying to get them to convert. And when they repeat book, etc. with us, then obviously they come direct and book with us, etc. So, and that's the beauty. That's where we save slight pounds as well.
Fantastic. I mean, other questions like what happens if you've got a contract with a client. I mean, we get this all the time, and sorry to sound bleak. Clients say, okay, well, I'm buying this property because it looks like it's going to have a good return on investment, but the management company that you've signed up, what happens if they go bust, for example? but you know.
Well, you asked me that
40 years
last time,
Yeah.
and I have to say, I'd like to think that Kevin really, you know, after being in the business for so long as he has, and one of the only long-standing independent that's left in York, I very much doubt if he's going to go bust, really. If he is, I just want my healthcare signing right now, but no, you know.
It seems you guys have got a real good handle and a real niche in the market. So, I mean, you've protected yourselves quite well, especially with all the sort of extracurricular things that you do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's, you know, it's almost a given.
I mean, if one thing from a long-term rental perspective, we're members of ARLA, the Association of Residential Letting Agents.
Yeah.
So we have to have client money protection. I mean, in fact, it's a legal requirement now for all letting agents in the UK to have client money protection. So we do it through ARLA, and if the business were to go bust, any money from a landlord's perspective that is contained within that account is ring-fenced and it's protected. So it's insurance backed. So that should hopefully give the investors some kind of level of solace and security in that regard.
Brilliant. Okay, let's get to the brass tacks, is what people want to know. What sort of price per night can York for high quality apartments in York achieve?
Now, so again, you can go anywhere from kind of like your 110 going up to kind of 300 a night, depending on obviously like midweek, early midweek, late weekends, etc. On an average, and on the 2 beds in Icona, I keep them steadily ticking over that. So if you was to book a 2-night with me now in Icona for a 2-bed that sleeps 4 people, at the moment, this weekend, you'd be getting that for £650. And then you've got the clean on top of that one. If you book that on a Monday night and a Tuesday night, that's £420 plus the clean on top.
All right. Okay. That's still pretty attractive, isn't it? When you take into account what's left after the costs.
That's right. And because a lot of other holiday let people, they do like a night breakdown, so to speak, but then they obviously give that to the owner, but then they take the cleaning fee out of that one as well.
Yeah. So
that nightly rate could be advertised at 280, but then you have to take off the cleaning fee. You then have to take off the management fee, etc.
Soon dwindles. Yeah,
that's right, and it soon dwindles. So a lot of owners come to me and they go, well, you know, I've seen it advertised at 280. Well, yes, that's right, but now let's take £100 clean off. Yeah.
So you
that's right.
State it quite readily that it's
exactly, and also because I have housekeepers that work for me, that then they're required to supply the linen and the towels. If, for argument's sake, that 1-bed property is going to be, say, £80 that the guest gets charged, the cleaner might only get, say, £70, but obviously that differential goes to the owner as well.
Okay, so it's always a moving. Everything's sort of fluid. One of the other main questions that we have is, we understand that, you know, in my experience, management rates usually for residentials between 8 and 12% on the management fees. Usually between 8 and 12% on the management fees, but with welcome lets and with short-term lets, it's a little bit higher. I think, you know, from what you've already said, you've justified that, but give us a little rundown on just how much goes into that sort of 15 to 18%.
So I'll take last night, for example. I get to leave the office some days at 3 o'clock, but my then phone is constantly going, whether I be on appointments or obviously managing to work still from home, but whatever. But anyway, yesterday I had 3 call outs from guests. One had locked herself out and couldn't obviously then access the property. So that meant me coming back to the office, getting keys, and obviously driving through to that property. Another one was complaining of water not stopping in the toilet, etc. So I had to go out to that one and fix the flush system. And then the third one last night was at 10 o'clock, where 2 elderly ladies had locked themselves out again of the property. So I had to go and come and get keys, etc., and obviously go to them and do that. Now, you know, my day starts from kind of 7:30 in the morning, because this phone is the guest phone, and this phone doesn't stop. If electric goes out, it rings. If somebody wants to rebook, it rings. If an owner wants to get hold of me, it rings.
So that's what we're paying for, really. You're paying for
and that's what
round the clock service.
Yeah.
What we love, and what I talk to my investors a lot about, especially buying sort of off plan and new build properties, is the sort of maintenance technically should be lower.
That's right.
We talked earlier about the about things being out of warranty. So it's a brand new development completing in late February next year. So not a million miles off. But once that's completed, all brand new appliances, there's a builder's warranty and
exactly
like that. So you shouldn't have a huge amount of issues as an owner. But you guys are there for the owner, for the visitors and for the guests on a round the clock basis.
No, that's right, and that's the difference, and because it becomes bookings. On the new build as well, your investors really also shouldn't be too much worried about the energy costs, because obviously, you know, new builds are done a lot different to obviously what an older house is done, etc. And new builds, and I actually used to sell new builds years ago, and new builds are wrapped so tightly in insulation, and obviously have got better, higher regs and building regs done for them. So they're always a lot hotter and maintained within obviously their own heat. So the heating bills obviously will not be as excessively high as what they will be for another person.
Good point.
But obviously in any property, whether it be an electric heater or gas heating, obviously we control that as well. So we regularly check that guests have turned the heats off, etc. Where we can put a Tado or a Hive so that we can control it on the phone, and obviously then make sure that it's off when it's not occupied, etc. Turned back on when a guest is coming in. That's what we do as well.
Saves you running around.
Yeah, but it's not that. But that's more for the owner, because the owner will come to me and go, do you know what, Debs, at the end of the bloody year I spent £5,000 on heating, my god, like, you know. And I kind of go, well, you know what, we should have done this, or you could do this, give me this kind of thing. But it is the fact that guests will leave that property, and guests will leave that property with the heating on, because it's not their money.
It's just the par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And that's a big difference. But in a new build, for a good couple of years, there shouldn't be the issues that you'd have in like an older property. They'll get a lot of shrinkage cracks, and then again, obviously, you know, I can talk to the owners about that and get that sorted, but that should honestly be it.
Okay, well, it's great to know, and that was really quite a comprehensive rundown. Really appreciate it. Are there any other things that you think our buyers potentially looking on the fence at the moment, looking at buying a buy-to-let property and considering Citygate in York? Are there any things that you guys can say as the management appointed that might be quite helpful for them?
You can talk.
Right on the spot.
I mean, to be honest, nothing that we haven't covered so far, really. I just think, you know, it's a fantastic development. I think it's, like Deb has said earlier, with all the bells and whistles, you know, the concierge service, the on-site gym. There's nothing to my mind, nothing like it in the Greater York area. So it's from a, whether it be a holiday let perspective or a long-term rental perspective, that's going to naturally have a bit of allow investors to achieve more of a premium than other areas, than other blocks of developments within the Greater York area and surrounding.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll be coming up with my team in the next few weeks to come and visit the site. Before I do let you go, have you seen the site recently?
Yes.
What's it looking like at the moment?
Do you know, honestly, it looks like it's on time. Now it's obviously four floors up.
Yeah.
And there's French doors gone in already. And that's a massive plus, really. But yes, no, it looks as if it's actually going to be on time. Build wise is, like I say, the kind of like the top end's done, and obviously coming down, etc. They've got French doors in from that top floor all the way down now. So yes, I think they're going all guns blazes.
See, it's progressing well. That's great. Great to know. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Debbie. Really appreciate your time today. I know we're all busy, and it's great to sort of give this, you know, on the ground insight to our investors. Really helpful. We're going to post this this chat. As I said, I've recorded this chat. We're going to post this around a few places. So you know, please do your best to sort of like and share it where you can. But our investors who are interested in this project, we've got investors who are buying, we've got investors who are looking at the moment. Will they be okay to talk to you guys if
yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. I've already done a couple of meet and greets on a Saturday where people have come down, and I've got them into the Icona flats. So obviously, you know, then they could see obviously those conversions to
Brilliant.
what Citygate, etc. So if you want to organise that, just let me know. That's not a problem. When you and your team come down, please make sure you let us know. And obviously, I'll try and show you Icona. So obviously you can see that kind of level of build to what they've done. And then obviously you can come and meet us really. So, and Ash might buy us a coffee.
There you go.
Hey, that would be good.
Date.
We'll hold you to that. Look, guys, thanks again. Really appreciate it. We'll put all the contact details below as well, so everybody can get in touch. But thank you so much for your time today.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.